I am Masked Woman, and today I'm walking through a street that looks ordinary at first glance, but hides centuries of power, identity, and contradiction. This is Wangfujing Street, right in the heart of Beijing. To most people, it's just a shopping street, bright lights, luxury brand stores, flagships of global companies, endless crowds moving from one storefront to another. But that's not the real story. Because if you look carefully, Wangfujing isn't just selling products. It's quietly displaying China's past, its foreign encounters, and its modern identity, all at once. The name itself is a clue. Wangfujing literally means well of the princes. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, this was not a marketplace. It was an elite imperial zone, home to the mansions of princes and high-ranking officials closely tied to the emperor. Power lived here. According to historical records, a well discovered in the area produced unusually sweet water, giving rise to the name Wangfujing. Over time, that name survived, even as empires collapsed and societies transformed. So when you walk this street today, you're not walking through a mall district. You're walking through what was once the inner circle of imperial Beijing. From imperial privilege to commercial capital. As dynasties declined and modern China emerged, Wangfujing began to change. Royal courtyards were replaced by shops. Aristocratic silence was replaced by commerce. Today, the street is one of Beijing's most important commercial arteries, lined with international luxury brands, Chinese flagship stores, technology giants, global fashion and retail chains. This isn't accidental. Wangfujing represents China's economic confidence, its comfort operating at the center of global consumer culture. But suddenly, something interrupts that narrative. A European cathedral in the middle of Beijing. In the center of Wangfujing stands a large church, St. Joseph's Church, also known as the East Cathedral. It doesn't blend in. And that's the point. The church was first built in 1655 by Jesuit missionaries during the Qing dynasty. Over the centuries, it was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times by earthquakes, political unrest, and the Boxer Rebellion, before taking its present form in 1904. Its existence challenges a common assumption that imperial China was sealed off from the world. It wasn't. This church stands as evidence of early Western presence, diplomacy, and religious exchange, right in what was once an imperial stronghold. Even today, the cathedral remains active. People still come here to pray, just steps away from luxury fashion stores and neon-lit signs. Religion, commerce, and history overlapping, not competing. But that's not what caught my attention most. As I continued walking, something else stood out. Groups of young women, dressed in traditional Chinese clothing. Not performers, not actors, not a staged cultural show. They were simply existing, walking, talking, posing for photos, in clothing inspired by the Tang, Ming, and Qing dynasties. In a space dominated by global brands and modern aesthetics, they looked intentionally out of place. And that's exactly why they matter. The Hanfu revival is not about nostalgia. What you see here is part of a growing Hanfu revival movement across China. Hanfu refers to traditional clothing worn by the Han Chinese, especially before the Qing dynasty. These styles draw heavily from the Han, Tang, Song, and Ming eras. But this isn't about costume. For many young people, especially women, Hanfu is a reclaiming of historical identity, a rejection of cultural erasure, a visible statement in public space. Wangfujing is the perfect stage. It's symbolic, crowded, and globally visible. Wearing Hanfu here is not accidental. It's deliberate. Why these dynasties matter? Each style carries meaning. Tang-style clothing is colorful, flowing, confident, tied to an era when China was outward-looking and cosmopolitan. Ming-style Hanfu is refined and structured, often associated with cultural continuity and authenticity. Qing-inspired attire, influenced by Manchu rule, reflects imperial authority and dynastic power. Some people rent these outfits nearby, others own them, but the message stays the same. They are inserting historical identity into a hyper-modern space. Tradition walking past luxury. This is where Wangfujing becomes impossible to ignore. People dressed in clothing inspired by ancient dynasties walk past. High-end fashion houses, global electronics brands, modern retail flagships, no one stops them, no one questions them. Old China and modern globalization don't clash here. They coexist, and that coexistence tells us something important. What Wangfujing is really showing us. This street isn't trying to erase history. It isn't trying to freeze it either. Wangfujing shows how modern China selects, reshapes, and performs its past, openly, visibly, and on its own terms. Imperial memory survives. Western presence is acknowledged. Cultural revival is public. Global capitalism is fully embraced, all on one street. Wangfujing doesn't explain itself. It lets you observe. And if you look closely, you realize this isn't a contradiction. It's a strategy. China isn't choosing between the past and the present. It's walking with both. And sometimes, the truth isn't hidden behind walls. It's walking right beside you, on a busy street, waiting to be noticed. Today, I tried to show you more than just a famous street. I tried to show you how history doesn't disappear. It adapts. Here, the past isn't locked behind glass. It's not frozen in books or confined to museums. It walks beside modern brand stores. It stands quietly as a cathedral in a commercial district. It flows through silk sleeves and ancient silhouettes, moving confidently through a modern city. Wangfujing reminds us that identity is not linear. It layers itself. Dynasty over dynasty, belief over belief, memory over ambition. Modern Beijing doesn't erase what came before it. It selects, reshapes, and displays it, in plain sight. So for the next few moments, there's nothing more to explain. Let's slow down. Let's observe the street, the people, the movement. Because sometimes the clearest truths don't need narration. They just need to be seen. I am Masked Woman, and this is Wangfujing. If you found this perspective interesting, like this video, it helps these stories reach further, and subscribe if you want more moments where history, culture, and power quietly intersect.